Welcome back to the Black Girl Flow podcast. We're always just so grateful to have y'all back for another conversation, talking about all the things, always, how we live our best lives, the things that are keeping us up at night, how to live in alignment, how to support your tribe, and everything in between. It's your host, Liv and Lex, and we're excited to get the conversation started. How are you doing, Liv?
I'm doing just fine. I feel like I recently, just watched Issa Rae's newest production, Sweet Life, Los Angeles. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you know that I am a reality TV fiend. So I have honestly just been so rejuvenated. I've been more rejuvenated by watching Black women and men in such highly elevated points in their life, but still closer in age to me, so it doesn't feel like super far off like Real Housewives or anything like that. And yeah, other than that, started my first day at my job, which is kind of crazy. So we're full on in the adult world. We've really been counting down to that, I feel like, each pulse check, and then now it's finally happened, and I'm here, and we're honestly just gonna see how things go, but I'm excited. I can't complain about it right now, honestly.
Just hearing you talk about the Issa Rae production Sweet Life, it just reminds, the song that popped in my head is I'm living my best life, just watching people just kind of shine and do their thing. And it is interesting because I feel like the last time we had some type of unscripted show, which this was scripted, but The Hills, we've never really seen this for, like you said, people our age. I have not checked it out yet. I'm too busy catching up with everybody to Love Island. Nobody wanted to tell me that this show was literally so addictive that I'm out here watching it during the weekday while I'm working. That's how bad it is.
I know. And it's with Love Island, an episode every single day just makes you want to be like, okay, well, what's going to happen this episode? The way that they're able to do the cliffhangers, chef's kiss, honestly.
And we know I'm a fiend for some trashy love television, and not even trashy because this one isn't that trashy. It's so staged and so simultaneously wholesome. And the worst thing that they're doing is all making out with each other. It's very, very interesting. But I'm hook, line, sinker. No spoilers, please, because I already know everything already happened. But I'm definitely on the train now.
And we just have to specify for the Love Island fiends out there that this is actually Love Island US that she's talking about, not the UK version. I myself am trying to catch up on the UK version, but the accents are a lot. I'm not gonna lie, they're a lot. And
I'm gonna catch flack for it, but I'm with you on that. I don't get the hype, but I'm just not about the crowd. I'm not a part of the tribe that's very pro the British accent and right. The thing of it. So I agree with you, but either way, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. But excuse me, but we got to get into our conversation today because we're
without you doing your pulse check.
No, I know. Y'all.
You're trying to skip this portion every single time. I'm like, excuse me, did I miss something? Was watching Love Island for real your post check? That's the most exciting thing that's going on.
No. Yo, y'all, I hope everybody's hearing how Olivia's trying to play me right now. Please.
Now you're trying to skip over the most important portion of the conversation.
I was going to say, you can definitely tell from our conversation that we need to dive deeper into our pulse check because so many things are going on in our life because you're elevating your life, got this big girl job, doing all the things, but then there's a lot of other things happening in the background of your life too. And the same for me of it's I feel and I don't know if other people resonate with this, there is a level of busyness to my life right now that I've literally ended some of my days being I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy with how many places my head is right now. Right. And that's such a different place that we've been in for since, honestly, life. Nobody's been here yet. But I feel we need to dive a little bit even like deeper to see this season of busyness. Like, does that resonate with you at all or no?
Yeah, I mean, I you always talk about the season of busyness and like how your life is in cycles of 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I guess adapting that logic into my year, this is supposedly supposed to be my golden year because I'm turning, I turned 22 last year, and then on the 22nd, like it's supposed to be this big year. So I feel like I've already kind of mentally prepared myself for a lot of milestones. And you can kind of see that throughout like the year of me working my way up to having this full-time job, and then like navigating relationships and like what I really want to cultivate in my life. But what about you? Like this season, okay, I'm just gonna have to spill the beans because Lexi does not want to share all of her information, but this girl is for real about to buy a house. Like it's really in the works, and I
I'm
feel like
not gonna lie. I didn't know which beans you were gonna spill. And what does that say about me? Because I was like, is she gonna out that I'm in a relationship too? Because I was like, didn't you?
there we go. There we go. I don't know why it's taking like this is I think the epitome of Aquarius is. I don't know why you guys are this way, but this is huge.
If you find out, definitely let me know. But no, I have been dating somebody for a little bit of time now. Um, and I'm also in the home buying process, which like it's so tough. It's like hard to talk about because it's like there's so many phases to it that like you don't want to get too excited, and I don't want to like put too much out there and then the world rip a rug from underneath me, which I know is also a little bit a part of the scarcity mindset that I think Black women were always waiting for like the other shoe to drop a little bit. And I don't want to be in that place in my mind or in my life, but it's like a harsh reality of just I'm like in uncharted territory. And I also have 2 jobs.
Yes.
And so my time is spent spread thin. And our podcast, obviously, is a baby of mine as well. So it is definitely, I have to be very intentional with my time. And sometimes I don't know if I'm handle my seasons of busyness really well because we all know how much I love my downtime. Like I dream about the days that I was spending when I was back in Texas, and literally all I was doing was crocheting. Like I have not crocheted anything since I've been back from Texas, and I was killing the crochet game beforehand. And it's like little moments like that that I'm like, oof, like where is my moment to
Right.
just
How do you get back to that like 2016 era when everything was just so wonderful?
And the thing is, and I think we'll get into this in our conversation about like, at least for me, those are my moments of peace. And it's not that I want to chase those moments. I saw something on Instagram that really resonated with my body that was just talking about how, like, when you're meditating and you like have this routine and you have like a really good meditation or you have like a really good epiphany, like, not to chase that, like not to be like, okay, next time, like I want that same euphoria, just like be really grateful for it and then keep on keeping on. And so part of me doesn't want to chase that like quiet and stillness that I really do love, because I know that, again, like you said, I'm in cycles of this. So I'm like, this too shall pass. Like,
Right.
like be steadfast in it. But like this is tough. And I'm curious if there are other people listening that are finding themselves in the midst of transition, maybe in relationships, maybe in their professional life, maybe their circumstances that also just have them really, really busy.
Right. I think you hit on such important things through that, like this idea of meditation and becoming more mindful while you're trying to cultivate inner peace within yourself. And I think it's going to be different for everyone. But what I will say is this morning, I was just, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and I knew that I was trying to like work out more. I was trying to like be on my yoga journey. I got a lot of things going on. And usually if I have been working out and I don't work out, one day, I kind of like beat myself up about it.
Mhm.
But today I was like, I'm going to make this fun for myself. And I looked up this like hip hop, twerk, dance class, virtual thing on YouTube. Would highly recommend for all my Black women to just kind of shake out my feelings and to still like pour into that mindfulness that I want for myself and the inner peace that I'm trying to cultivate in myself as well. I also feel like it's really hard for our generation to truly be at peace when you're constantly looking at other people's lives on social media. And even as like a part-time social media manager, I have such this love-hate relationship with it, because if you're going to be on social media, like you have to have a certain level of mindfulness to be able to be like, okay, even if this is someone's perfect reality, like this has nothing to do with my journey. And like, I'm going to keep on taking things day by day, because you can get so wrapped up in what other people are doing to the point where it just completely steals all of the joy from your heart. And like, that's not a positive and healthy way to actually like cultivate a good relationship with your body, with your mind, with other people, if you're constantly comparing yourself.
Yeah.
What the quote is that comparison is the thief of joy. So that's like I feel like you have to have a mantra when you are like in this space of wanting to do the best thing for yourself.
Well, and I think everything that you're talking about, I'm sure is resonating with so many folks because even to a couple pieces of the things you said, like getting on social media in comparison, also getting on social media and being just, shell shocked by all of the news constantly. You know what I mean? Like again, world chaos day by day by day, and it has not stopped for literally almost years now. And I think also too of the piece of just like being and getting caught up in somebody else's like pace of life,
Yeah.
because I'm sure so many folks who are in similar age bracket that we are, some might be at home right now and like also being on your parents' time or your parents' space, or starting off your job and being all about the company or the agency or the mission, and it's like you're getting pulled in so many directions that sometimes you do forget, like you said, to just kind of woosah and ask yourself, like, whoa, 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 where am I in all of this? And like, how am I letting those energies shape how I'm showing up? Or like, what am I really metabolizing that's probably not mine that like I need to let go of? And that's so interesting that you say like your mantra is like comparison is the thief of joy, because I really think mine is like protecting my peace. Like that is my big, big thing. And I don't always know what that means, but I think obviously the conversation today is all about centering and cultivating your own peace and like the very complex way things that means. Like that there's no recipe for success or like, copy paste version of that, but it really does show up so different for everybody. But I think especially in times like this, which is such a cliche sentence to say, like I'm literally gagging as I'm literally saying that, but feels really important to have, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And a little vulnerable moment real quick. I recently got out of this long-term relationship where I had met my partner in quarantine and created this like really intense bond with him throughout this moment. And now that I'm out of this, right when cupping season is right around the corner, I'm gonna really have to hone in on myself and really prioritize my needs and wants as I'm embracing this single season of my life. And look, cupping season, we've talked about it on the show plenty of times. It's no joke. And I feel like it's going to be really important for me to just be cool, being where I'm at, meeting myself where I'm at. And if I have to put on another hip hop twerk session, like that's exactly what I'm going to do to like just make sure that I'm taking care of my body and nurturing myself. So that kind of leads me into, I guess, the big question. uh, for the episode, Lexi, which would be, what does cultivating inner peace look like for you?
Oh boy, oh boy. I think
Oh.
for me, it really is moments of stillness, like creating moments of uninterrupted, unallocated silence where there's space enough to be whole. And like that feels and sounds so vague, but I can feel it in my body of those moments where it's literally like, I joke all the time during the workday and I'm like, woosah, woosah. But I'm like seriously trying to like calm myself down when I'm saying that. But it's that moment of like quiet. And there's sometimes that happens. I live by myself, and there are some moments, and I'm like, I'll walk into my house and I'll just like put all my stuff down, and it's just silent, and I'm like,
Not you sounding like a 50-year-old mom with the kids just moved out of the house. Finally, they're gone. I have my peace. That's really dope.
But in my mind, it's like, and if it's just that moment, then like it really reframes my whole day. Cause like that, I'll have that moment and then I'll be like, wow, I'm just so grateful for like this, that, like, and I like can really start to let go and put things into perspective. And so for me, it's about protecting my mindset so that I don't forget to have those moments. And it's also about like centering and making sure that I have those. Sometimes I have a little bit of guilt because I'm like, I wish I would have gotten to that sooner. Like I should always start my day with that. Like I always feel late to it. But then it's like the moment that you're like, or sometimes it's out in nature that I have those moments. But for me, that's just one component of cultivating peace for yourself is like an actual literal moment of stillness and quiet, which let's be honest, that probably freaks a lot of people out. You know what I mean? So like I also have to call that out and say that like to each their own.
Right, exactly. It's going to be different for everyone. And for me, honestly, like when I'm still, it honestly makes me more uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
than brings me peace. Sometimes I just kind of feel stuck, and being still to me just has to, I've got to rework the way that I interpret that and that I move through that. But I feel like this is going to be such a Capricorn answer because for me, I cultivate my inner peace by trying to become more disciplined and really like
Mm.
my routines. So that means, for example, not when I don't feel like making up my bed, like still making up my bed, or when I don't feel like moving my body, still finding a way to like get a couple more extra like steps in, or if I just feel like I've got a lot on my heart, being able to be vulnerable with friends, write it down in my journal, but just having a more routine like nature of
Mm-hmm.
feeling like, okay, I did what I needed to do to
Yeah.
move throughout my day. But I know like there's so many people, especially in the Black girl community, that rely on their faith, that might rely on spirituality to really cultivate that inner peace. And I love that. Like I also think that you should have something that you like hold to be true, that you feel like you can show up and show gratitude towards.
Yeah, because that's not the default or like the things around us are pushing us towards that. Because I think the part of it, you know, we kind of have to get to an understanding of like, why would we? Like, why should somebody care about cultivating peace in their life? If they're, you know, if their bills are getting paid, if they got a job, like if they have all these things, material things, or that maybe the wins for life and success and they're booked and busy and all that, like I think we need to have a little bit of a conversation about like why cultivating peace in your life is important. And I think it ultimately comes back to what we're trying to communicate in regards to this community that we're building, is that like there's a level of being in alignment with yourself and the world around you. And I think not just thinking about your peace for yourself, but like the collective peace. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I don't even, I think a lot of us don't realize how much our body holds on to trauma and
Mm-hmm.
holds on to past experiences from childhood that we might not even like fully be able to piece together. And so, in order for us to heal as a collective, like we have to address the problems and we have to figure out some sort of way to like be better for the sake of the community.
Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because I think like that's such a big goal that we desire, especially like y'all know I rock heavy with my Black girl tribe. Like, well, if there's a hill I'm gonna die on, it's gonna be something for Black women. Like
That part.
and I think about that just often. I'm like, if anything needs to ground me ever, I'm like just so grateful always for the Black women in my life. But I think that it does start with something just super basic. You mentioned, Liv, that like our body does take on so much, and that says something. I think there's like two sides to it. That means that we're like hella resilient. Like there is a strength beyond anything that we can really comprehend for ourselves and like who have come before us that have endured so much. And it's, but then there's also a little bit at the same time of like, but do we need to be doing that? Like, is that the cost? You know, James Baldwin always talks about like the cost of the ticket of like what you do endure and like what do you get out of it. Right. And I think for us, it's just, or at least when I think about like cultivating peace for Black women and cultivating that space, I also just think about, you know, we've talked about this before, like you just take a collective breath. You know what I mean? Like so much of even when I was saying of like when I walk into my house, it's just that moment where I'm like, and right. Oh my gosh, was I holding my breath all day long? Like, did I forget to do this? Did I forget to have this moment of myself? Like, what? Like, what was I doing all day? And in my mind, I'm like, just because I'm getting it through the day doesn't mean I'm getting through the day as my best self. And there's also, I'm also going to add this because I'm always conflicted, and which is why this conversation I think is so complex. And I hope it's resonating with folks because I also feel bad sometimes because I'm like, my life's fine. Like I'm busy. Like I don't need that peace thing. Like I'm good. I'm Gucci. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I 100% resonate with everything said. And I feel like, again, I realized that I, for one, wasn't breathing throughout the day. When when I was in high school, I used to walk around with this really confused look on my face. Like my eyebrows were up high and my body just wasn't relaxed. And people would always ask me, why are you lost or something? And I had to really become more conscious of just like relaxing my body in everyday situations, because I honestly deal with a little bit of social anxiety, where even sometimes when I'm public speaking, I can feel my throat starting to close up. And I just started realizing that like I chew on the inside of my cheeks, and I don't know, I've just adopted these anxious habits. So I literally have to like train myself to breathe. And I think meditation helps with that so much. But also bringing it back to the comparison thing, I really feel like most of the people that I follow on social media are probably close to their 30s. And I hadn't realized that like this entire time I had been comparing myself to like, oh my God, like how do they have a full closet? Like how is their apartment fully furnished with all of the like accessories that I would want to have? And because, you know, Black don't crack, like people could really be 21 for all that I know. But I was looking at their journeys and I was like, wow, like how are they
how do I stack up against them?
No, I'm a few, actually more than a few years behind. And I think that more people just have to be authentic for one, but two, just like be okay with the pace that you're at. And I think that's what I really want people to take away from this conversation. Like you said earlier, it's okay if you're living with your parents. Shoot, I'm living with my parents. It's okay to be unemployed. We're in the middle of a freaking pandemic. Give yourself some grace. It's okay to embrace the single season of your life, even if cuffing season is right around the corner. Just breathe, Like, talk to your community, be real, heal your like wounds, no matter how fresh or old they are. Like, we have to do this for the betterment of the Black girl community, because we are on the rise. Okay, Black women are actually, I think, the highest demographic group to like start a business right now. Like, we are taking over the entrepreneurial game, and the more conversations like these that we can have with one another, the more that we can continue rebuilding the community and do better for the next generations.
And I'll say that, like, when I hear things like that, it makes me so excited. But we've also talked about it before. The entrepreneur game is savage, right? And so I think that there's an invitation to, like, as we're paving our own way and like a new path and a new way forward, like, don't forget that peace thing. You know what I mean? Like, don't forget, like, if we do take moments for ourselves to take care of ourselves, to remind our friends, our mothers, our aunts, our nieces, our sisters, our BFFs to also take care of themselves, like, then I really think that then what we build when we are taking over, influencers, entrepreneurs, it's going to be sustainable. Like, the presence will be unwavering. And I think that's really, like, when I talk about what's the value, it's like your peace gives you strength, because nobody can take that from you. It makes you sustainable, and you're not dependent on like a good day or bad day or the busyness and the booked and busy. You just kind of have this perspective, and also this like humble gratitude, and not in the humble like, oh my gosh, I'm just grateful. It's like, no. The gratitude that's like, this is my worth, this is what I'm doing, and I know I'm doing it and I'm bringing everybody along with the win for me. And I think in a weird way, we have somehow answered that question. Like, if you don't see that, then, then start asking the people around you what their relationship to peace is, and see who's succeeding and who has that strong relationship with peace, and who does not have that relationship and is asking themselves, like, what even makes me happy?
That, my friends, is what's called a mic drop. That right there was a mic drop. Just so many gems. Embracing that season of your life, telling yourself, I deserve this, I am grateful for this, and I own this room. I own this space that I'm in right now. Look, we honestly love to hear it. And I don't think that there's any better way to end this episode than what you just said right there. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And with all of that, remember, peace, love, blessings.
Y'all, for real, rest up,
And love yourself.
We'll catch y'all next time. Bye, y'all.